What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, as you can obviously tell, is going to be a little different than normal. You guys have come to expect really good sneaker content from yours truly, and I appreciate that. The channel has been growing. But today, I wanted to share another passion with you guys. And for some of you that know me well, you know that passion is Christmas. So I wanted to talk about my top 10 favorite Christmas movies of all time. Appreciate you tuning in. Happy holidays, y'all. Post below your favorite Christmas movies and let me know what you think. I had 10 honorable mentions. Not going to mention all 10, that's going to take forever. I'm just going to mention 3 of them. So one of my 3 honorable mentions, Black Christmas. Yes, the original, or at least I should say, what a lot of people call the original slasher movie, the one that inspired Halloween, the one that inspired Friday the 13th. Black Christmas is creepy. It's worth a watch if you are into horror movies and you have not yet seen this. I would say it's a little bit of a sleeper in terms of it's not some big budget movie. It has had a couple of different remakes, neither of which were that great, but this original one is good. And the main antagonist, Billy, yo, let's just say that dude's voice will scare the Christmas out of anybody. My next honorable mention is also usually not something that gets brought up in these top 10 lists, and that's The Snowman. This is a short animated film. The animation is incredible, but what makes this film so special to me is the music. We're walking in the air. The soundtrack is, man, it just puts you in that Christmas mood. It puts you in that winter mood. There's just something magical about it, truly, which of course emulates the animation in this movie. And my final honorable mention, and it was so close to being number 10, and that's Klaus. And this is a movie that I had 0 expectations for. It's a Netflix original, another animated movie. This movie is so heartwarming. And it really dives into the lore behind Santa Claus, the lore behind Christmas, and what really makes it a special holiday. I believe it even won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film, so check it out. Kicking this list off at number 10 is 1954's White Christmas. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, 2 things that I don't really care for with movies is if they're a musical or if they're long-winded. And this movie is both. But it's incredible because it stars Bing Crosby, who is probably my favorite Christmas music artist of all time. It's a love story, it's a redemption story, it's a story of Bing Crosby more or less playing himself, and it really showcases the fact that here's an individual who is an aspiring musician, he's a military veteran, he's trying to continue to do these shows, and people that were in his squadron are either helping him or they've kind of fallen to the wayside. And this movie really brings home that feeling. The ending is absolutely a Christmas classic. If you can't get into this film, I would just fast forward to the last 20 minutes and you will not be disappointed. Coming in at number 9 is a film that gives me all the childhood vibes, so much nostalgia. I probably wore out the VCR watching this flick so many times as a kid. It is the 1964 stop motion animated film, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now, the funny thing with this movie is I would say it probably has not aged that well. As far as my top 10 goes, most of the movies I think have aged well. This one I think has actually not aged that well. There's a couple reasons for it. I think a lot of the content, now granted this is an older movie, but a lot of the content is just, it's a little cringe. I also think that there's characters, and even back when I was a kid, there's characters like Hermie the Elf that just annoyed the hell out of me. Wanted to be a dentist, like, bruh. And like Yukon Cornelius, he was a little too gung-ho, a little too yeehaw. Like, it just wasn't my vibe, right? But I loved Rudolph, of course. I liked Santa, and I loved the abominable snow monster. Bruh, that guy was so dope. And I remember as a kid, my favorite ride at Disneyland was the Matterhorn, because on the Matterhorn, there's a part in the roller coaster where you see an abominable snowman, and I just assumed that that's who it was. Coming in at number 8, Die Hard. Die Hard. Die Hard. This is a Christmas movie. Yeah, it's an action flick, obviously, but come on. It takes place during Christmas. It has a bunch of Christmas themes. This is a Christmas film. Just so happens, John McClane kicks a lot of ass and saves the day, and it's so much fun. I love this movie. As a kid, Bruce Willis was my favorite actor. Rest in peace, Alan Rickman, because Hans Gruber steals the show. Hans Gruber as a villain, incredible. Ruthless. What he does in this movie, cold-blooded. In his death scene, he didn't know that that was when he was going to drop. So that reaction on his face, that's 100% him. This film, so fire. Everything about it, absolutely incredible. Shout out Carl Winslow. Carl! Harriet! He is incredible in it too. Coming in at number 8, Die Hard. Number 7 spot, Christmas classic from Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone. You knew it would be here somewhere. A lot of fantastic quotes are used from this film. In particular, one of my favorites is when he plays the "Keep the change, you filthy animal." I mean, come on, classic.
You guys give up or you're thirsty for more?
Home Alone has spawned a lot of epic things that people to this day still utilize in their Christmas traditions. So yeah, it's gonna always be in my top 10. And right here, right now in 2024, it sits at the number 7 spot. Coming in at number 6 and just missing out of the top 5, it's Charlie Brown Christmas. One of the first films that I watched because it's a short watch. It definitely makes me feel warm and fuzzy. And I don't know, there's just something about Charlie Brown taking control, chaotic Christmas play that they're supposed to do. And of course, the iconic tree that he gets and everyone just giving him such a hard time. Even Snoopy, his loyal companion, his best friend, his dog. The fact that it takes consumerism into play, a really cool, unique twist that I think as a kid, you don't necessarily notice. But as I've gotten older as an adult, I really look at that movie as like, yeah, we don't need all this stuff. What we just need is the people that we love around us and, you know, a couple of lights and a beautiful Christmas tree. Because that's what it's all about, right? Coming in at the number 5 spot, might surprise some of you guys because, hint, hint, yeah, it's the original 1966, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. As a kid, in addition to Rudolph and probably Charlie Brown, The Grinch I would watch all the time. Love the music, love the character of the Grinch. And it's funny because the character of the Grinch hated Christmas so much, right? Hated it so much that he literally stole it from Whoville. But for whatever reason, it put me in the Christmas spirit. There's just something about his character, especially in this original one. The dude's a like, now granted, we see later on in the other 2 Grinch movies that the backstory makes sense. But watching this as a kid, you're kind of like, dang, okay, he's really not feeling Christmas or the Who's, and he really likes to mess with them. As we all know, deep down, the Grinch loved Christmas. He just didn't know that he did until Cindy Lou Who showed him the true magic of Christmas and made his heart grow 3 sizes that day, which, by the way, side note, it's so funny because you forget that his heart was 2 sizes too small. So technically, the fact that it grew 3 sizes means it's actually bigger than the regular heart. I was today years old when I figured that out. It's one of my all-time favorites. I have a guest bathroom here in the house that is a Grinch bathroom. Absolutely love everything about Grinch. Max the dog is amazing, and everything about this movie just makes me feel so excited for the Christmas season. In the number 4 spot, Mickey's Christmas Carol. In addition to sneakers, horror movies, Christmas, I love Disney. Disney always brings me joy and happiness, and I think it's because one of the first memories I have, core memories, is going to Disneyland as a young kid. I think my brother was maybe a year old. He was still in a stroller. We actually had a home video of it, and it just always makes me feel warm and fuzzy thinking about going to Disneyland. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol in general has never really been one of my favorite books or Christmas movies, but with Disney characters, I loved it. Plus, I was a big DuckTales fan. So the fact that they had Scrooge McDuck playing Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge, I thought was so cool. I loved Goofy. Goofy was so funny as Jacob Marley. And then I just love the fact that Mickey playing Bob Cratchit wasn't really the main character at all. You're watching Disney characters playing roles like they're acting for this Christmas classic. And I absolutely love it. Again, it's anytime I watch it, Tiny Tim in this movie, so Mickey's son, Bob Cratchit's son, it just brings tears to my eyes every time when Scrooge McDuck finds out that if he doesn't change his ways, Tiny Tim is not going to make it. Tugs at the heartstrings. Love to watch it every year, and it is my number 4 favorite Christmas movie of all time. We have reached the top 3. Any guesses? You guys think of anything that hasn't been mentioned yet? I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking exactly what number 3 is, and that's a more recent movie-ish. Elf. Will Ferrell, one of his greatest films ever, yes. Elf, and I will just say, I thought about Elf as number 1. 3, 2, and 1 are pretty interchangeable. We just watched Elf last week. This is probably one of the funniest movies. Will Ferrell is in his bag in this movie. This is that same era that he was doing Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers. Yo, he was untouchable during this era. So the fact that he did a Christmas movie and it was with James Caan, one of my all-time favorite actors. I knew I was gonna like it, but I didn't know how much I was gonna like it. Buddy the Elf, a human baby at an orphanage, climbed into Santa's toy bag, went back to the North Pole. They didn't know what to do, so they decided to keep him. He was raised by the elves. The behind-the-scenes stuff for Elf is very cool. The way that they did the shots, so that way he looks so much bigger. Movie magic. His whole experience as an elf and then going to New York City to find his dad, yo, hilarious. The whole thing with syrup, his whole obsession with telling everyone, like, that's not Santa, because he knows Santa. Rest in peace, Faison Love. His cameo is incredible as Buddy's boss. This movie makes me laugh, it makes me cry, it just makes me feel what they needed in this movie to get Santa's sleigh working, which is the Christmas spirit. And yeah, this is my number 3, but it absolutely could be my number 1. It's Elf. My number 2 movie, a lot of people might say is sacrilege because it is the 3rd rendition of this movie. One of these 3 did not make my top 10. Granted, it is in my honorable mention, but it is the 2018 version of this guy right here, The Grinch. This might be my all-time favorite animated movie. Seeing this in the movies when it came out was such a crazy experience because I saw it in IMAX, and the way that they did the animation, I believe it's Illumination, it just popped off the screen. And the way that Whoville looks is so magical. I actually earlier this week did a ChatGPT asking what towns in the world are like Whoville, because the way that they illustrated Whoville, it just, I don't know, there's just something about all the lights, all the decorations, it just feels like Christmas like nothing other. Literally, it's the most Christmas feeling movie I've ever seen. I think a couple upgrades that they did with this movie that I really appreciated was that, first off, they made the Grinch more likable. Like, yeah, he's clearly still very upset. And in the beginning, his opening entrance into Whoville to get food with Max is hilarious. A lot of the stuff he does, the guy's, but deep down, he's not so hateful, so vengeful like the original, and to a lesser extent like the Jim Carrey version. And I love the way that he interacts with Max. Absolutely love it. That's his guy. Like, it's not just having a dog, like that is his best friend, that is his family. And I love the backstory with this movie because it really makes you feel for him. And in addition to that, the other characters, the side characters, they all have really good stories. Like, it's different, but it's similar. So Cindy Lou, for example, is being raised by a single mother. She has 2 twin brothers. She has to kind of help take care of it. And the whole reason why she wants to write this letter to Santa is to help her mom, because her mom works so hard and doesn't get rest and wants a break and can't get it. And that's just, it's so sweet. And so the characters in this movie are all very sweet in their own ways. Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch, phenomenal. I didn't know it was him until I heard that he was the one voicing the Grinch. Does an incredible job. Shout out to Kenan Thompson. He does an amazing job as Grinch's BFF. This is a very funny movie, a very sweet movie, and a movie that just makes me feel so deep for Christmas in the moment when I watch it. It's a beautifully done movie. It's my #2 favorite Christmas movie of all time. But there can only be one movie in my top spot, and I'm sure you guys know what's missing because it's a favorite for a lot of people. My #1 favorite Christmas movie of all time is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is absolutely when Chevy Chase was in his bag. Chevy Chase, probably one of the biggest comedy stars from the 80s. So popular, so many great movies like Fletch, Caddyshack, the list just goes on and on with him. This movie is so great because it takes a beautiful child holiday like Christmas and it shows you a grown man with a family who loves Christmas more than anything, and all he wants to do is host all of his extended family at their house. He wants to decorate it, swimming pool in the back. Like, this is a true family man, as they say in the movie. All he wants to do is have a perfect Christmas. And of course, like any National Lampoon movie, it all goes to. But I think what makes this movie so endearing is the fact that he loves Christmas. Like, the way that I feel about Christmas, honestly, is the way that Clark W. Griswold feels about Christmas. The scene when he's up in the attic and he puts on all the old stuff to get warm, and then he finds and watches those old home movies of when he was a kid growing up around Christmas time. Like, even just thinking about it, it gets me emotional because the nostalgia for me hits really deep. A lot of what made Christmas special for me was growing up in the 80s, spending time with family, especially with my grandparents in the Sonoma area in California. But I get a lot of my love of Christmas, in particular from my nonni, my mom's mom. I truly believe that her love of Christmas was instilled into me, and I've just kind of taken it and ran with it. I really relate to Clark's character, the era that it takes place in, which of course I was already a young kid. It also really resonates with me because that's kind of how I remember my childhood Christmas era being, and the stuff that they shop for and the decorations that they have. This movie is very funny. It is 1000% my favorite Christmas movie. We watch it every year. Plus, come on, how funny is Cousin Eddie? Bruh, Randy Quaid, you're the best.
Bingo.
There you have it, my top 10 favorite Christmas movies of all time. Like I said, this list was so difficult to come up with. I hope you guys have a magical and warm holiday season. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you have fun with your family and loved ones. My name is Wiz, and I'll see you on my top 5 sneaker pickup video coming in a couple of weeks.